Tanjong Batu.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to participate in the debate of the motion of appreciation on the Tuan Yang Terutama, Yang Pertuan Negeri's address, which was so graciously delivered in this August House on the 11th of May 2017. Mr. Speaker, inflation in our country hit a record high of 5.1% in March this year, second only to the 5.7% in 2008, and that was 9 years ago. At that time, there was a regional financial crisis. Such high inflation rate, which usually happens in countries facing socio-economic crisis caused by autocratic government lacking accountability, government entrenched in corruption, government which implement failed economic policies and financial mismanagement without transparency, thus causing a crisis of confidence on the economies. The BN government is not much different. Today, the BN government is much engrossed in a campaign using religion, race, and extremist sentiments to play the racial, religious, and extremist game, hoping to drown the largest corruption scandal in the world, the one MDB RM 52 billion scandal and the US $1 billion donation scandal. The BN government had ignored the remedies and thus failing us miserably on our economy. Perhaps one would argue that Sarawak is different, as the new Chief Minister is embarking on a digital-based state economy and 1 billion ringgit investment in ICT and Internet highway, or the 10 billion ringgit ICT project, or the setting up of the local bank, development bank. Mr. Speaker, our illustrious telco service providers cannot even provide us with stable transmission. Sometimes, even though we see a full barcode on our handphone, yet the transmission could be poor. Or we could be receiving messages on our handphones from telco, and if we click on it to open, then we get charged a price when even our complaints after complaints to telcos are to no avail. The digital-based state economy boasts of our home internet speed to be 2 TB. The Chief Minister is talking about the internet speed like that in Korea now. And people are wondering what is the Chief Minister talking about when the present internet speed is only 100 megabytes. 2 TB is 20 times of that. But today, many places don't even have Streamix. Not to mention Unify. And even if you have that, it's expensive. Suddenly jumping to 2 TB, and it's like taking one single step to reach heaven, the Chinese say, 一步登天. When it is like that, such a huge jump, a step, people just cannot seem to be keen. And one wonder the new initiatives will face similar problems like the telco service providers. Likewise, if only we could have a good bus system for now, we could solve a lot of our traffic problem by costing only a fraction of the total cost of the LRT proposal. It is also about how we spend our state fund to bring in the most profit through smart financial management and not just spending for the sake of spending because we have the reserve. Even the spending on the acquiring of the Bakun Dam, how prudent can that be when you pay 2.5 billion ringgit and then you have a debt of 6 billion ringgit? All these, the racial, religious, and other seemingly too far-fetched economic measures are actually a diversion, ignoring the economic suffering of the people, ignoring the drug abuse. With drugs are so easily available these days, they are now even selling them on the street. A friend of mine told me that they are selling drugs these days like selling cigarettes. If you don't believe, he said, that you can drive up the street in not so a luxurious car and see if they come up and offer you. And so what is the Barisan national government doing about it? Talking about religion, race, extremism, and the far-fetched dreams? Have pity on our youth and our addicts before they die. Stop the drug before it is too late. Mr. Speaker, we have the laws made by the legislators. This drug abuse, it is the duty of the chief executive of the administration to make sure that the laws are faithfully enforced. There is no excuse to say that they lack the power to do so. But why being selective, closing one eye to what is going on, enforcing only portion of the law, and not having to face consequences for doing that? Mr. Speaker, in this war on drugs, we are all colleagues in this House. Whether we are the majority or the minority in the House, we all have been blessed to serve the State Legislative Assembly, the People's Assembly, with all its traditions and histories and all the laws that has been passed and lives impacted. Mr. Speaker, we are not held in too high public esteem right now. Maybe we as state legislators could be respected more if we respect ourselves enough to require that the law we pass be treated as laws, not part of portion of the law, but the whole law. Our Legislative Council exists not to pass suggestions or ideas. We pass laws. The war on drugs is a fight as to whether we as lawmakers on both sides of the aisle will ever find the courage to stand up for ourselves to make sure that the administration go all out to fight the war on drugs. Not half war, but a total war. People are counting on us to win the war on drugs. Mr. Speaker, on the issue in Bintulu here, I'd like to bring up the issue about the Chiew River. I'm sure Mr. Speaker remember many of the names, better the names now in Bintulu, like Tanjong Batu and Chiew River, which is not too far from Mr. Speaker's previous house. The Chiew River was running through the runs right through the Bintulu town, dividing the town into two sides, right? The Jalan Tun Hussein On side and then the Jalan Chiew side. Now, while much of the land of the Jalan Tun Hussein On side had been developed into housing estates, the Jalan Chiew side is also developing very fast. There is a road connecting the two sides, and it's via the Bintulu Tatau Road, another one via the Johari Suman Road, and another one via the Kampong Baru Road. Now, folks staying in these new housing estates built between these three roads could find it so much closer if there could be bridges built over the Chiew River. So instead of driving out to the Chiew Road and using the three existing roads to go to the Jalan Tun Hussein road side, they could just cross the bridge at the back of their housing estate, and then you're on the other side. I believe that this will help to ease and diverse the traffic flow within these development areas and also render more choices for road users. Mr. Speaker, the flooding problem at Taman Sibiu, built right at the seashore at Tanjong Batu Road, had been a long time problem. I brought it up in this demo before. Now, February this year, the housing estate is flooded again, and the folks there said that the two outlets there, one beside the Taman Insang and the other one beside the Tangwamwe gas station, both draining the water from the Taman Sea View into the sea, are often blocked by the sand on the seashore brought out by the waves. BDA had always come and opened up the blocked outlets, but they cannot be there looking after the blocks all the time. So folks of Taman Sea View said that a more permanent solution to the problem would be to build the concrete outlets at the two places that would solve the problem of the block at the outlets for the Taman Chiew drain. Also, it seems like the roadside drain itself at Taman Chiew were built low. They were built in the early days of development in Bintulu, and whether these drains could be raised higher to let the water to be able to flow out to the sea better. And I urge that the authority concerned to look at this matter and help to alleviate the problem there once and for all. And may I ask Mr. Speaker about the Norma Medical Specialist Center, the first and foremost specialist center in Sarawak. When she was first built around some 20 over years ago, she was well equipped with modern medical equipment and had some of the most talented, skillful, and best specialists in so many fields. Some of the best nurses were there, and even the general staff, they were great. And they all serve the public very proudly. Now, many of them are still there, serving diligently, always working hard and responsible, dedicating their whole lives to save lives, not to mention the customer care program which they have. Seldom you will see a patient being there, left alone or not accompanied. And I share the many good values of Norma, and that should be exactly what she stands for. Now, with all that, Mr. Speaker, we would think that Norma Medical Specialist Center would have grown in leaps and bounds over the past 20-some years and become like Mount E. But all is not rosy. Today, from what I noticed, many doctors have left. Patients are not coming back like before. The buildings had run down, and one wonder if the medical equipment had been updated and better equipment acquired. Mr. Speaker, we can understand the feeling of the specialist doctors, nurses, and everybody at Norma, the place where they have dedicated their best years, their whole lives with everything they know they have to do their best, believing in the vision and mission of Norma, aspiring it to be one of the best, if not the best, health provider in the state. But that vision and mission is becoming obscure. What will Norma be eventually? Now, what holds her future? Many are concerned, Mr. Speaker. Originally, it was mission to be the leading healthcare provider, and now it is changed to be the preferred healthcare provider in the region. With that now, Norma seems to be left on its own. Norma's motto is "We care." But does the administration care to what is happening there, Mr. Speaker? Now, if we care, now tell us what you would do to make Norma great again, to make Norma proud again, like its golden days. What kind of funding would there be for Norma? Or would Norma be let to go down in history into becoming just another ordinary clinic? And if that happens, it would be the greatest disappointment to all of us who have aspired Norma to be another Mount E. Sarawakian dreams that one day all of us could enjoy the visions and values of Norma for all our medical needs in every corner of Sarawak, and that Norma be made to take the lead. I honestly do not hope to see that she will become yet another one of our flip-flop projects where they all began very well in the beginning, and after a while it goes down. Like the Sarawak village, we could have been a crown jewel of tourist hotspot, but now the jewel is shining no more. Or the ambitious First Silicon of Sarawak, or the Sarawak International Medical Center at Samarahan, or the Batu Industrial Park, or the Sego project, or this or that. Now, fellow legislators from both sides of the aisle, we have been elected by the people to serve the people and to make sure that every cent of the taxpayers' money so spent by the administration is wisely spent. Always remembering that the people of Sarawak are counting on us to keep our pledge that we will faithfully discharge our duties to the best of our abilities to serve them. Mr. Speaker, going back to the kawasan again, this rumah, my neighboring kawasan. Rumah lebong anak luan belasan do longhouse at the Semanok Jalan Coastal Highway, which is just about half an hour drive from Bintulu, does not have great electricity supply, though other longhouses along the road, they have been connected to the grid and be supplied with electricity. Longhouse folks said that they have no choice but to use generator, and the price of the petrol is hurting them because they have to pay about 30 ringgit a night for the electricity. As being longhouse folks and having little income selling sundries, they are really having a tough time, and it's their wish that they could be supplied with the electricity from the grid also. Another longhouse, Rumah Jembu, Anak Tanggai, a $14 longhouse at Setiam, Jalan Coastal Highway, only 37 kilometers from Bintulu town, have similar problems. Apart from no electricity supply, they have no water also. We can imagine how difficult it is to be for these people who are living by the seaside and having no water. Now, another most difficult problem of the people of these longhouses and a little bit Luar Bandar, staying along the coastal roads, and in fact, many of us in and out of the town, folks, is that we have no bus service since 2009, Mr. Speaker. Life has become so difficult for them because they cannot bring their farm produce to go out to town to sell or go anywhere conveniently. Yeah. So I urge the authority to look into these matters and help them with the very basic to sustain their livelihood. And with that, I end my debate, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.